Gasper, how you doing, man?
Good. How are you doing?
Good. Your thoughts on what they did or didn't do at the trade deadline? Do you agree with that? What I just laid out was kind of their mindset.
Yeah, no, I agree with that summation that they sort of made the decision in a vacuum and decided to stick with their ideology over the context of where they're at, which I think is disappointing. I don't like ideological intractability from my sports team in any sort of element. And I think when you look at it this way, the other thing you guys didn't mention, and that was a great summation of their situation, but let me add one more thing that I look at and say this is also why they made the wrong decision. I don't think this 2026 draft coming up is particularly good or particularly deep. That doesn't mean that there won't be impact players in it, but I don't think this draft is as good as the past draft, and certainly not as good as the way the 2027 draft is lining up, where you could have really dynamic receivers like Jeremiah Smith from Ohio State and Ryan Williams from Alabama. That's the first year those guys are draft eligible. So I would look at it and say, if I'm the Patriots, okay, yes, we need draft picks. Yes, we need to rebuild this roster, but this draft coming up is not great. And so we can give up a third round pick, which is now projecting to be towards the back half, or really the back third of the third round. And oh, by the way, we also have 2 fourth-round picks in this draft, so we can afford to be a little bit more aggressive. If you're asking me, would I rather move a third-round pick in the 2026 draft for, say, Breece Hall of the Jets, the running back? That was the report. That's what the Jets were looking for. Would I rather do that or roll the dice on what this third-round pick is going to be in 2026? I'd rather take Breece Hall. And people say, oh, Jared Wilson, they got a starting guard out of it. Yeah, but then the year before, Caden Wallace was a third-round pick. And you say, oh, Marte Mapu was a third-round pick. Okay, but so were other guys who really never really made an impact for your team. I'd say it's a 50-50 shot at best that the third-round pick is going to be an impact type of player, whereas I know Breece Hall can be an impact player right now. And if I have to franchise him at the end of the year, that's fine. And then I weigh it out between Breece Hall and Ramondre Stevenson, which guy I want. So I would have been much more aggressive than they were.
Chris, you named a few of them there, but I did your game earlier this week because once you heard that from Diana Rossini, that Breece Hall could have maybe been had for a third-round pick. You've done this before with Celtics picks when was Danny Ainge hoarding those picks, the precious picks.
Yes.
Here's every third-round pick of the last 6 years. Ready? Chase Winovich, Damian Harris, Yodny Kajust, Anthony Jennings, Devin Asiasi, Dalton Keene, Ronnie Perkins, Marcus Jones.
Perkins was one I was looking for.
Marcus Jones, okay, you hit there, but Marte Mapu, who you mentioned, Caden Wallace, Kyle Williams sucks, Jared Wilson. So Breece Hall's better than all of them, though. Like, even if Marcus Jones is a nice little player, like, you make that deal, if that deal was to be had.
Yeah, and I think he could juice your offense and your running game and take a little bit off of Drake May. We'll see. I mean, I expect Ramondre Stevenson. I don't have any inside intel on this injury, but he's not out for the year. They haven't put him on IR. So they obviously feel like he'll be back before missing 4 games. But still, even if he's completely healthy, he was having an okay year, but not a great year. Breece Hall, when he's healthy, is an explosive running back, and he's never played with a quarterback, at least not consistently. He's never played with a quarterback playing at the level that Drake May's playing at right now. So edge rusher was their number one need. The Eagles jumped in and took Jalen Phillips. I know Burt Breer said they poked around Boye Mafe of the Seahawks. The Seahawks are in it, so they weren't going to move him. That's the decision that they ended up making in the end. I get that there wasn't a lot out there, but the Breece Hall situation, I think that's a need, especially when you look at the way they're handling Travion Henderson. His career high in carries came last week. It was 14. The most carries he's had in games this year, it's 14, 11, 10. Does that sound like a bell cow back?
Clearly not. Thoughts on that? 617-779-0985. Continued fallout from their lack of activity at the trade deadline. Thoughts on Patriots Buccaneers?
Me? Oh, okay.
You.
Yeah, thoughts on Patriots Buccaneers. I didn't know if you were going to break there. You kind of threw me off. This game, I'm interested to see the Patriots. I feel like this is really the first time since they've had this winning streak where they're going to face another team that's a legitimate playoff team and is going to say, if we beat the Patriots, that's a pelt on our wall. The Patriots having to go from being the hunters to the hunted. I'm really fascinated to see how they respond to that, because say what you will about Baker Mayfield, and I'm no fan, but he plays with a chip on his shoulder and something to prove. And I think this is as much a prove-it game for Tampa, which doesn't get a lot of respect, as it is for the Patriots. And I'm intrigued to see how they respond to that. I also think that the Patriots have been able to get away a little bit with some stuff the last couple of weeks because they faced off against quarterbacks and offenses that, can't really make them pay for their mistakes. I mean, each of the last 2 weeks, they've had 6 sacks and 2 turnovers. In that Cleveland game, it could have been 3 turnovers. Drake May fumbled, and they were able to get the ball back. Now you're facing a team that's +7 in the turnover differential, that's 4th best in the league, and that has a quarterback and an offense that can capitalize on those turnovers. And I'll give you this, too. Tampa, 5-0 this year when they don't turn the football over. So I think a lot of this game is going to come down to turnovers with 2 quarterbacks who are among the most turnover-prone in the NFL over the last 2 years. Number 1 in fumbles. This is not fumbles lost, just fumbles the last 2 years. Baker Mayfield, 19. Drake May, 15. May's number 1 in fumbles lost with 8. Overall turnovers, these guys are both in the top 5 the last 2 years. May is tied for 3rd with Joe Flacco with 22 since 2024. Coming in 5th place, Mayfield, 5th with 21. So I think whoever doesn't turn the football over, whoever wins the turnover battle, is going to win this game.
Baker Mayfield or Drake May right now? One game, got to have it. Who do you take at quarterback?
Drake May.
Why?
I think that Drake May is probably less likely, believe it or not, after I gave those turnover stats, to make that turnover. Because I think he's still at a point in his career where he is coachable. And I'm not saying Baker Mayfield's not coachable, but what I'm saying is Baker Mayfield is who he is. He's going to make plays for both teams. I think he goes into the game with a certain mindset. He's very comfortable with who he is. Whereas Drake May, I think you can send him into a certain game and say, hey, Drake, we need you to play a little bit more conservative in this game, or we need you to cut it loose in this game. I just think Drake May is maybe a little bit more malleable in his style at this point because he's a young guy than somebody like Baker Mayfield. And to me, the thing with Baker Mayfield is there's a little bit of that Marcus Smart thing where his greatest strength is his greatest weakness as well. He thinks he's capable of anything, and he's capable of some incredible stuff. But because he thinks he's capable of anything, he does some stuff that you don't want your quarterback doing on the football field.
There's definitely more cowboy in Baker Mayfield, and not like a Dallas Cowboy, but like yeehaw, like I'm gonna make that
cowboy quarterbacking,
Brett Favre thing. But I just I'm still biased until I can see Drake May win a playoff game. I'm going to go with the guy that's won playoff games. So I will take Mayfield, but it's not by much because Mayfield's cowboy thing can bite him in the
Maury,
ass.
why does Gasper? You've worked with him now quite a bit to know. Why does he hate Baker Mayfield?
I've never really been able to put my finger on it.
I feel it's something Brady related, and I don't know why it would be.
No, well, you kind of hated him at college.
Yes, that's right. That's right, because I thought that he was overrated, and I thought that I just don't like people who act like they are the greatest thing since sliced bread. Like, look, Mayfield's had a great career. I give him credit, but he's never going to win the NFC. He's never going to win a Super Bowl. He's never going to win anything of real consequence, but he sort of behaves like and acts like he's, Drew Brees or Tom Brady or one of these elite quarterbacks. And I didn't like him before this, but yeah, I didn't care for the comments he made about, Tom Brady whipping the Bucs into shape, whipping them into winners, and then Baker Mayfield, these guys were uptight and they hadn't had any fun the last couple of years. Remember when he made that comment?
No.
Huh? Remember that?
But now I do now. But now we have it.
He's bounced around.
Remember that comment?
I do, but he's bounced around. He's been humbled. I mean, even Sean McVay was like, okay, you were here for a minute. Thanks for winning that game. Now get out of here. I'm not interested. Like, he's been around. I think he's learned a lot these last years.
Gasser made an interesting point on TV last night about bummy quarterbacks. What frustrates you about bummy quarterbacks nowadays?
Yeah, I just look, call me a traditionalist, call me an old man, say it's get off your lawn. But I like the old days. When a guy was a bust, he was a bust. I hate these freaking zombie quarterbacks that come back from the dead. It's just annoying.
Meaning?
It's just annoying. It annoys me.
Sam Darnold.
Geno.
Baker Mayfield.
Daniel
Smith. Mac Jones.
Even Jacoby Brissett.
I mean.
Yeah, I just like the old days. When you sucked, you sucked. And it was declared. And it was done. Now these guys are like zombies.
Okay.
They come back from the dead and you have to act like they're good. It's aggravating.
Why do you think it is? Is it because you made an illusion last night that they've dumbed the game down? You don't think it's possible that these guys just get better?
It's possible that they get better. That's certainly possible. But ultimately, I think it's because the rules are slanted towards quarterbacks. You can't really hit them as much. Again, I do give Mayfield credit, even though he's not my cup of tea. I mean, he's played well in Tampa. But really, up until this point this year, a lot of it in my mind was he was in a great situation with great weapons, Mike Evans, Chris Godwin. Now, this year's been different. Emeka Ibuka is very, very good, but obviously Godwin hasn't really played and Mike Evans is hurt. So you have to give Baker Mayfield his flowers on elevating this team. But a lot of these guys, I think it's the situation. Yeah, remember a few years ago when Case Keenum had the really great season with the Vikings?
Yeah.
Yeah, I just feel like if a guy gets in the right situation, and that's what I think Daniel Jones is this year. If a guy gets in the right situation with talent around him, I mean, look at Indianapolis, good offensive line. Jonathan Taylor is the best running back this side of Saquon Barkley, and it's a lot closer than people think between the two of them. Pittman's good. Alec Pierce is leading the NFL in yards per catch. Tyler Warren has been a slam dunk as a rookie tight end. It goes back to something we talked about a lot when Brady left and went to Tampa Bay. There are quarterbacks who elevate the team around him, and there are quarterbacks who are elevated by the team around him. I think most of these zombie quarterbacks are elevated by the teams around them.
Okay.
There is something to be said about not having to worry about, like, back in the day, like, oh, you see the Steve,
no, when you
Steve
sucked,
DeBerg,
you sucked.
yeah, Steve DeBerg and Bubby Brister, you see what they've turned into? No, they sucked. That was it. You never had to worry about them again.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Now they come back, the zombie quarterback.